You're listening to Paul and Andy's podcast. There you go. I thought I'd do my announcer's voice.
That was your announcer's voice, was it?
Yeah.
From what station?
Oh, I don't know. Some bizarre independent local radio station.
Bria FM.
Bria.
Yes, this is Grey Matters, where we talk about things that are on the edge of greyness.
Reason.
On the edge of reason. And I was just saying to you, wasn't I, what are we going to talk about? You know, because I only saw you a few days ago, and time needs to elapse, really, before we can go, I know what we should talk about. We should talk about that. And then you looked at me rather vacantly, I have to say, and you said, have you got strange ears?
We have, yeah.
So I'll remove one can.
I don't
so
normally
you can
see
comment on
them
it.
because you're normally wearing a pair of headphones.
I don't come through your front door in a pair of headphones.
No, but you were looking for something in your bag and you were leaning over, so the side of your head was facing me, and I thought, you've got, basically, if I can just describe them, if you imagine Mr. Spock in Star Trek, if he were to turn his ear upside down, that is the shape of Paul's earlobe.
No one has ever said that to me.
It's true.
I have been accused of being lobeless. That there are no lobes there.
Well, they
go just into
a point. Yes.
I don't think they go to a point, do they?
Well, they do with your head. We'll have to put a picture up to accompany this podcast.
Yes, please, because otherwise people will think I'm some sort of alien.
No, I just thought, how odd.
Well, I just haven't got lobes. Some people have got great big wobbly dangly lobes, haven't they?
Yes.
Which they can pierce endless times. I haven't.
Have you thought about disability allowance at all there?
You might have to think about that in a minute, the way you're carrying on. And after I've just completed a DIY job for you, which,
listen,
as you'll remember, dear listener, singular,
many episodes ago,
you will recall that you were struggling with a toilet roll holder, which had been fashioned out of bits of copper pipe.
Yes.
And you still hadn't put it up a year later.
That's not struggling. That's just laziness on my part.
So
procrastination, I like to call it.
Well, you can call it whatever you like. You hadn't put it up.
No.
And so I brought my tools and my implements, and I wouldn't say I did a very good job. I just made a hole into the plasterboard with one of these screwy things that take another screw and off-flaked all the paint, so you've had to you've had to fill it.
Work for me.
I've created work. So it's all ready to screw right into the wall.
Yes.
But you've got to fill in where it's just flaked the paintwork away, and then you'll have to sand it, and then you'll have to touch it up with the paint, assuming you've got the right colour paint.
I have.
Good. Well, that is something. We have garnered another listener.
Have we?
Yeah.
That's two.
My mate Richard.
Yes.
Lives in Taunton Way.
Right.
In a beautiful area with a few acres of ground. And he was a tour manager, so a rock tour manager.
Really? I bet he's got some stories to tell.
Has many stories. In fact, we should have him as a guest. And he'd be up for it, I think. But we could do that. Anyway, he tour managed for Supertramp, for Steve Harley,
brilliant.
Duran, bands you've probably never heard of. But so he's had a neck operation. He's had a vertebrae in his neck. The cartilage in between was crumbling or fusing or whatever.
Yeah.
I should have paid more attention. Anyway, the bare bones of it literally are that he had a neck operation.
Yeah.
And so he's incarcerated at home.
Right.
So he's been plodding his way through all our podcasts.
Oh.
In fact, he sent me a very bizarre message saying, Liquorice triangle, smiley face, laughing. And I thought, what on earth is he talking about? I'm going to have to listen back to our podcast. And it's bad enough hearing it the first time as it comes out of our lips, but listening back. But we must have mentioned Liquorice triangle.
Well, we talked about the rhubarb triangle in Yorkshire, and I was saying, it's the same area that licorice was grown in back in the day, because that area of Yorkshire, Pontefract, as in Pontefract cakes, farmers used to grow the licorice, but they import it now. All the licorice, pretty much, I think, in this country is imported. Because it's a very labour-intensive crop to deal with. But for a long time, an area of Yorkshire was famed for its licorice. But no longer.
You see, when he put that, all I could think of, we must have alluded to a licorice circle, which is an entirely different thing, I would imagine.
I don't know.
But let's not go into that.
I don't know.
Anyway, Richard, we wish you well. If you're listening to this, you've caught up with, I think this is episode 21. So, well done. And you can be our listener of the month.
Yeah.
How about that? His operation, they had to go in the front.
Oh, no.
So they cut into his neck.
Why? Why don't they
if
go
you're
in the
eating your
back?
tea whilst you're listening to this, I'd listen to this later.
Why don't they go in the back?
Because they can't access the right bit, obviously.
It's like mending a car.
Actually, that's a good idea. Why don't we go in the back this time?
Yeah.
We've been going in the front all this time.
God.
Never thought to go in the back.
So much easier.
Probably
the
thought
back.
of it. So they go in the front. So they cut down there. This is the nasty bit. Then they move aside the esophagus,
right?
The vocal cords and all of that malarkey.
Oh, blimey!
To one side, and then they can get to the spinal column. Now that pairs into insignificance compared to the troubles you're having with the wiring loom and your screen in your car.
It sounds very similar, actually.
Very similar, although human life is not at risk, because he could have ended up not being able to swallow and not being able to speak. Mercifully, he can do both.
Well, that's probably why they don't go in from the back, because they're worried about the spine and the nerves and all that sort of stuff.
And your limbs not working afterwards.
Yeah.
But you're trying to fit a screen in your snazzy new convertible that sits there on top of the dashboard.
Yeah.
And I went, blimey, that's ambitious. And you went, I looked at YouTube. So how far have you got?
I haven't got it to work yet. So I think it's a bit of a wiring issue.
I would say so.
So I don't know whether the issue is actually with the product itself or with the wiring, because it seems to me that there's no power going to the screen.
Sorry, are we keeping you up?
No, sorry, that was a burp. I was trying to sound.
Oh, that's all right then.
So I just need to. I'm reading a lot of manuals at the moment of wiring diagrams and everything.
Manuals online.
Yeah.
You can just dial it up, can't you? You can probably put in BMW. Is it BMW?
Yeah, I don't know.
BMW 3 Series, whatever it is, convertible. How do you attach it? It's all there, isn't it? I mean, before I put two holes in the wrong place in your toilet, I did double check to make sure I was using the right fixings. And there's endless videos of people going, "Hello, my name's Pete. I do DIY Pete. If you'd like to subscribe, click on the button below." And you think, I'm already not going to subscribe.
Yes.
But let's see what he's got to say. First of all, make sure you've got a dust sheet there, because you might be making... Yes, come on, get to the chase. Scroll forward a little bit more. And that's how you... Oh, I've gone too far. And just go back, but there's loads of people, and there's today we're going to screw every language you want, every dialect you want, showing how to put a hole in a wall and screw into that plug. Amazing.
And then you try and scroll forward, and then you hit an ad break that goes, "Are you making the most of your money?" and all that stuff. And you think, no, I've got to sit through 30 seconds now before I've got to scroll forward, and it's like, oh, what a pain.
I was listening to Radio 4, as I do quite often, at lunchtime yesterday.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, it was the news at 1, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to listen to the 1 o'clock news because, people seem to time it, don't they? There's Putin will arrange, he'll invade a country at 1 o'clock just to coincide with the news.
Sarah Montague.
So I like her. She's a bit horsey.
Oh, no, I like her.
She's a bit horsey.
I think she's got a very nice way about her.
I don't know.
Oh, I like her.
Do you?
Yeah, okay. I like her voice.
I'm not sure. As I said, a bit horsey. Anyway, so I'm expected to hear her dulcet tones, horsey tones, and you hear the ding dong, ding dong, dong dong, and you think, oh, it's gonna. And then usually the news announcer gives you the headlines, and then they go back to them. And then we heard all of Big Ben and the chimes, and we thought, oh, well, that's odd. And then there was nothing. So I said to Helen, has war been declared? Are we under a nuclear attack? Have we been... Is that nasty man Elon Musk? Has he infiltrated our deepest systems? And they get dead air, as we call it in the trade, listener. Dead air. That's when it's silent.
Right. Yes.
And there was nothing. And then, of course, after about 25 seconds, the continuity announcer said, well, I'm very sorry, we don't seem to be able to link up to the studio, but let's remind you about some of the programmes coming up on Radio 4. So they hit a promo, and then they hit another promo, and then he said, We're joining the studios now for a slightly late 1 o'clock news. Oh, well, they don't seem to be ready. Still not quite. They did it twice, but promo. So we went to 5 Live.
Yeah.
They're running fine. So the BBC clearly hadn't... Nobody unplugged a major cable.
Well, it sounds like they've got a very similar issue to my car stereo there. And a wiring issue. No power to the studios.
First thing you would have done when you were at the BBC headquarters is got on YouTube and gone, how do you fix it when the transmission seems to go...
A national broadcasting studio.
Goes quiet. What do you do?
My name's Pete. Welcome. I'm at a new broadcasting house today fixing one of their studios. If you've got a studio like this at home... yeah.
First of all, put a dust sheet down, because there might be some mess.
Dust sheet.
Put it under Sarah Montague's legs.
Oi, Sarah, get out of the way. Yeah, that sort of thing.
Well, we did have a system when, all those years ago, when we worked at the BBC, actually 1 year for me and 3 for you, when they brought in ViLor.
Yes.
And ViLor stood for Virtual Radio, I think.
Virtual local
radio.
Yeah.
ViLor. I mean, the acronym was about as good as the system as far as I was concerned. And everything that you hear on local radio comes out of Birmingham.
Yeah.
It comes from Birmingham. So it comes down the pipe, the electronic pipe. And they said everything's fired from there. So there is a slight delay. So if you're cutting in something that's sort of live with you, you just got to understand how it works. And, excuse me, can I just ask a question? If that fails, what happens? Oh, it won't fail. Won't fail. But if it should, that immediately, within nanoseconds, switches to London. It comes out of London. So it won't come out of Birmingham, it comes out of London.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Oh, that's good. There's a question at the back. I'm just wondering if London fails, what happens then? Oh, that will never happen.
Yeah.
We never had 2 fail. Guess what happened within weeks of us being on air?
Yeah.
Both systems failed.
Yeah.
Dead air. So what happens then is people are starting. Where's the CDs? You've got to put a CD on. And of course you do have CDs, but does the CD player work? Which channel does it pass through to? I mean, it's complete nonsense.
When I was presenting, and I am a complete technophobe, and I come from radio when it was...
Steam-driven?
Well, not steam-driven, but tape and cartridges and vinyl discs. And when I was presenting in the new ViLor studio, I always used to make sure that I had a CD that I brought in from home, a greatest hits CD.
Max Bygraves?
No, it was like an 80s CD or something like that. That had lots of different tunes on, all okay to play. And I would put it in the...
now, 1980.
I would put it in the CD player, I would cue it up, and I would make sure it was working, just in case anything went wrong.
You did that every day?
Every day. And it never went wrong.
Oh, well, you would have been all right.
I would have been okay, but I agree with you about this technology stuff and the ViLor virtual local radio stands for. They were going to call it continuity radio and presentation, but then,
Is that a rude acronym?
It might
Sounds like it could be. I'm just working it out, just in case.
Continuity radio and production.
Oh, crap. Very good. Very good. Oh, you're so clever the way you did that.
I'm not really.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. It's always have a plan B and, always have a plan B, C and D in my book.
Well, we've centralised everything. I don't know if you know this, but if you wanted in the control rooms, the other side of the glass from where the presenters are, if you wanted the heat turned up there, you had to contact a number, which was an 0330 number, whatever, and it patched through to Birmingham because the heating controls were controlled in Birmingham. Well, the overall air conditioning.
Madness,
you think, well, that can't. Hello, all right, yeah, Brian here, yeah. What do you mean? Studio? Where are you? Portsmouth? No, Plymouth. Oh, Plymouth. Is that okay? I'll just give you some moment. I'll see if I can. You think that can't be right, can it?
No.
And the window. We're spilling the beans here. Probably get into terrible trouble. The window cleaners came down, cleaned all the windows.
They came from
I was
Manchester, didn't they?
They came from Manchester. I just think, what?
Yeah,
you came from Manchester? What time did you get up? Well, we got up at 3, but we're doing this building. We're down in Cornwall. We're going into 3 o'clock in the morning from Manchester. Surely we can have people from the West Country, from Plymouth even, that clean windows. It's not. I mean, it's not rocket science, is it?
You'd like to think so, but I would have tested that situation out, the heating one, and rung up the control, claiming to be in Cardiff or somewhere, to see how...
Says, can you turn it up a bit more?
See how far I could crank up the heating in Cardiff.
People have been taken to the hospital in Cardiff with heat exhaustion as a result of the temperature, yeah.
That would have been fun, wouldn't it?
Well, it would have been. It
Why
wouldn't have
didn't
been
we
fun
think
for
of
them.
these things?
I don't know.
Because the other thing that I really regret not doing, because I used to... present
things
on the television.
All right. Yeah, don't keep banging your table. It's annoying.
Sorry.
You should know that if you're a presenter.
Yeah.
If you do that, it goes right down the micro. People do that. They, like when you're interviewing them sometimes, they do. Yeah. And you think, you're looking at them like I'm looking at you, like I hate you. And they go, and then don't get it. And then you kind of look at their hands and they go, oh. Yeah. Anyway, do go on. When I was a television presenter.
Well, yes, I know. But I always used to... I think it'd be quite amusing one day just to turn up in drag and do it.
What, like you are today?
Yes.
But in a sort of a summer dress, presumably.
Yes, yeah. And just to see what happened.
You started it
because
on
they
my
can't.
ears.
They can't. They wouldn't have been able to say anything, would they? I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. This is it. I just don't know. It was
go to YouTube. There'll be somebody there who's, hello, it's Dave here from Australia. You want to know about transvestites and cross-dressing? You've come to the right channel. If you like my channel, just press the button below.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Why are they Australian?
I don't know.
You decided it's better than your Bulgarian accent, isn't it? That's why. If you want to subscribe to my channel, please, below is the button.
That is free week for you.
How long were you a TV presenter?
Oh, gosh, 20-odd years.
Were you? How did you get on with the old autocue? Did you have to control that yourself?
Yeah, pedal autocue. It's like driving a car, isn't it?
No, I don't think so.
Well, it is, yeah.
You don't speak faster if you push the accelerator down.
Oh, do you?
No,
right.
I've tried
That's
it.
where I've been going wrong.
Sometimes you do, yeah. I've had a television career as well, actually, Andrew. Yes, I was involved in front of the bottle for some time, doing some one or two. I'm not going to name drop, but I worked with Esther Rantzen on That's Life. I was one of her boys behind the counter, as it were. Yes, in fact, I think I took over from Adrian Mills for a short time, but it was the hardest job I've ever done, and the scariest, because you can't help thinking, how many views does this get? 15 million.
Yeah, something like
I can't imagine what 15,000 people look like.
Oh.
15 million. So I was as nervous as you can possibly be.
Yeah,
she was very nice, I have to say. I liked Esther a lot.
Yeah,
but she had this. We're going back to the. Oh gosh, how far are we going back now? The 1990, 91. She had an old-fashioned typewriter, and she would sit at the end of the newsroom of the production office room, where there was about 20 or so researchers and directors and insert directors and stuff. And she'd there, and you'd have to take your script for the insert up to her for approval. We'd written it out, you know. Here I am with squirrels in the park and talking to people, la la la. And she'd take it from me and read it through, and she'd type it up. Ding!
Yeah,
like that. And that's how she, a real old-fashioned journo.
Yeah.
But she had a real way with people. She understood people.
Yeah.
And sad to say, she's very poorly. She's got cancer, and I did email her. And I didn't do it for any other reason than to say you had a great impact on my life, because you gave me a chance to do That's Life very, very briefly. Yeah. And then I worked with her husband, Desmond. Yeah. And it was a lovely time. I sent her an email saying thank you for the opportunities to let you know what I'm up to and blah blah blah. And I got an email back from her, and it said, "Oh, Paul, how nice to hear from you. You've certainly had an interesting career, and I do wish you well." And it was really touching. It's really nice.
That is lovely.
Because she could have written back saying, "I'm very sorry, I don't remember who you are or what you did, but I wish you every success." No, but she didn't. No,
but the people that are like that, she would reply individually.
I'll tell you who else. Did you have a big lunch or something?
No.
I can't have it. No? Is it just your age?
Yeah.
Do you need a mint?
No.
A mint imperial or something like that?
No.
Get stuck in your throat.
Yes, choking hazard.
I remember getting a very nice letter back from, I think it was before emails, was it? I can't remember. When did emails come in?
Oh,
80s?
probably
late 80s, was it?
Early 90s.
Was it?
no, 90s.
Alexa! I don't know. Anyway, John Lloyd, who produced Spitting Image, a genius, and again, a very, very nice man.
Yeah.
He used to write lovely emails to all the, presumably to everybody, on the crew, saying just thanks very much for everything you did and whatever. Lovely, lovely man, great sense of humour. And I've still got those in a folder somewhere because I don't know why. I'm not going to go upstairs and look at them one day, but it's nice to have them. And when I asked for my first credit, because I thought, I'd love to have a credit on this, everyone's on the roller at the end of Spitting Image, and it was a thing to work on, because you go down the pub, they say, what are you doing at the moment? And I'm working on, Spitting Image. I love it, it was a great programme. Yeah. So I said, John, would there be any chance that I could have a credit on one of the programmes? And he said, well, Paul, the thing is, if we gave you a credit, we'd have to give the bin men a credit. Well, you're laughing.
How to reduce?
But he did it. He did it with
He's such a.
He was communicating the fact that you just can't give everyone credit. He did give me a credit.
Of course he did.
Of course he did.
It
was the senior floor manager, Keith Lascelles, assistant. He put it down as an assistant, to Keith Lascelles, it was still a credit, and it was a nice thing to do. But how lovely when you get things like that. It's nice, isn't it?
It's one of my favourite TED Talks. Do you see any of those on YouTube? Yeah.
I haven't seen yours yet.
No, that's because I haven't done one yet. But John Lloyd's.
I haven't seen his either.
It's very, very good. And it's all about the things we cannot see.
Oh.
And it's really good, very funny, but yet very thought-provoking. I'd recommend anybody watch it.
Have you ever read Meaning of Liff? His book. He wrote it with Douglas Adams, who wrote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah, I think I've read some of it.
It's not the meaning of life.
No,
it's the meaning of liff.
Yeah,
and the whole premise is that there are unused words littering our vocabulary, and those words usually pertain to places like Upper Waddingham. So they're places they've gathered from around the country, like Snoot or I can't think of any.
Ginnel.
Gimel, that's a good one.
Oh, Ginnel.
And they have put actual meanings to the words, like Gimel. The fluff that you find at the bottom of a pocket, there's stuff like that. It's brilliant.
In Yorkshire, Ginnel is a walkway between streets, like a alley.
A back passage.
Yeah, like that. It's a Ginnel.
Has somebody been up our Ginnel again?
Yeah, a Ginnel's like that. When you've got a passageway between a row of terraced houses like that.
Sorry, what are terraced houses, by the way? Do remind me.
You're currently sitting in one.
Is this terraced? I thought you were semi-detached.
No.
I thought you were posher than you were.
No, gosh.
No, but that's using a word that already does exist.
Yeah.
But this is pairing up silly names.
Yes.
With things that don't have a name for them, like the fluff at the bottom of a pocket, or that kind of the last pea that doesn't land in the bin, it goes on the floor. That sort of they've paired up things. It's a brilliant book. Still in print, still sells every Christmas, particularly. Just brilliant.
Yeah,
I said brilliant enough.
No. You say it
John,
again.
I hope you noticed.
and am I going to get an invoice for the work that you've done today on my toilet roll holder and the 2 screws? Can you give me a ballpark figure?
A ballpark figure?
Yeah.
Yes. I did. It took 8 minutes.
Yes.
So if we said £1 a minute,
right,
that's a bottle of wine.
Right. Okay.
Which I don't have to declare.
Red or white?
Well, probably as it's winter red, I would say. But you don't keep alcohol in the house, do you? So
my
wife drinks it like a fish.
She does.
But you don't have to. I've done it for free and gratis.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I couldn't possibly charge you. I don't think the workmanship was quite up to it, to be honest with you. I think it might. Don't pull the toilet paper too hard.
Right.
That's my top tip.
Right.
Not until it's sort of bedded in
And is it guaranteed for any length of time?
Oh yes, it's guaranteed for some length of time.
How long?
Well, I think it'll outlive you.
Really?
Do you know we had a fridge freezer delivered, a new fridge freezer, and the compressor on this fridge freezer, because the last one broke after 3 years, we'd throw it away.
You don't have much luck with this.
High sense, no sense. And this compressor is guaranteed for 25 years on this fridge freezer, which my brother very unkindly pointed out would probably outlive me.
Yeah.
Well, he's got no knowledge of that, has he?
Well, we need a sweepstake going on now, don't we?
Well, he'll be there to collect the money.
Well, just me and your brother will have a sweepstake. My money's on the fridge freezer. We'll have a fiver and see how it goes.
No more talk about fridge freezers. I think I've got it out of my system now.
Good.
Although the door wasn't closing properly the other day, but that was just simply due to it not being level. It had moved. The unit had moved suspiciously.
You can blame Helen for that.
Well, I think it was trying to get out the door.
Right.
We've had enough of this place. We're off.
And
yeah.
At the beginning of this, you were quite. I think quite before I got into the subject of your earlobes, you were quite disparaging about the fact that it's not that long since we've seen each other, because I came over to Kingsbridge, your neck of the woods, on Saturday, and we're sitting here and it's Tuesday, so it's only 3 days since I saw you. And you said, well,
is this because you think I can't remember, or
no,
for the basis of
I'm just telling
listener?
Everybody I'm working.
You're telling Richard Ames.
No, I'm working up to something.
Right.
And you said, well, we haven't got much to talk about because it's not 2 minutes since I saw you last.
Right.
And so I thought we could update a popular adage to what about absence makes the podcast longer?
Get off.